Okay, if you get two guys, you can begin disassembling the air filter, oil filter assembly. And then first thing you really want to do is you want to drain out your motor oil. So take off your skid plate. If you have the stock one, it's the 10mm one right up here. And then if you have the aftermarket one, there's the, you know how to do it anyway. You know my videos are for advanced guys who know what they're kind of doing. Get a 19mm right here. And then you just dump your oil. There's going to be a screen and a spring. And put this down. Put this out. There's the screen. Well, there's a spring right here. The screen should be attached to the. There it is. See it? See how clean my oil is? I've been riding this bike a lot. But what we're going to do today is a clutch job. The clutch seems to be slipping. So I used kind of like a oil that kind of like mimics synthetic, and I guess it's a little bit too silky, so I'm going to try to use just regular conventional motor oil. Yeah, in this transmission, don't add any additives or any super oils. Just add freaking whatever cheapest oil you can find. Okay, hold on. Okay, take out the 3 screws holding the oil filter. And then what you want to make sure is the oil filter on the back side of the filter is where those holes, you see those 4 holes. Without that, you're not going to get good, you're not going to get any oil pressure going to the head. So remember, the 4 holes always to the back of the bike. Okay. And we're going to continue. We're going to remove all of the bolts holding on the engine clutch cover. I don't know if we're going to have to disconnect that rear brake pedal, then bring that down, so give us a little bit more clearance. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay. You know why? I think this screw right here, Jay. This screw right here is the one holding on this part of the case. That's why it's so long. But we'll let you know as we dissect this TW clutch. See this one right here, Jay? Super long, yeah? So I'm thinking that this is the screw that holds this part of the case in. But we'll know once we get this off and we can move this away, and we'll be able to see the scene a little bit better. You're gonna have to use an open end because there's no way a ratchet's gonna fit way down inside there, because look at the clearance. No clearance. Okay, if you look, you see these 2 right here? These are for the starter. We don't think it's connected to the outer engine case. So just get a light mallet and just give it a couple of blows. Put something down like this so you can catch it. Okay. Okay, once you get that out, there's little points right here. There's one right here. Okay, go ahead, Jay. There, you see how it's coming out? There's another one up here. You gotta go through the engine case this way. Use a big standard screwdriver. Just take your time and it'll come right out. And once you get it out, we're gonna punch them a little bit more, Jay. Or you think, oh, we can pull them already. We can pull them off by hand. So right now, Jay's gonna pull it off with his hands. Right like that. So you don't have to remove these 2 screws, remember. So we're gonna put this down. Oh, look like the gasket is still, oh no, in tear over here. I got a new gasket anyway, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean the gasket now. And then we're gonna go ahead and remove the clutch assembly. Alright, here we go. what you want to do with the clutch assembly is, prior to installation, when you're going to do a clutch job, you want to make sure you have a brand new gasket, obviously, and then clutch plates, at least 24 hours you want to have them soaking inside some good oil. I just put the springs in there so I wouldn't lose them. You don't need to soak the springs. And then we'll go ahead and begin this clutch job. Hey, there's George. Hey, George. He's the master of ceremonies. He's the guest of honor today. Oh, look at this guy now. He can musical sounds. Wow. Oh, look at the springs and the screws removed. You're going to remove this right here. You're going to take off that. You're going to clean your gasket excess. You're going to take out these 4 springs with the screws. It looks something like this once you get them out. We're going to replace them with brand new springs and brand new friction plates. We're going to leave the stock steel plates. Get the top cover right there off. Just be easy. Then you're going to remove these plates one by one. The same way it came out, the same order. So you should end with fibers at the end. I have one more set to go and then we'll be ready. Okay, you should end with fibers at the end. Then you go ahead and put your cover back on to lock everything back in. See? And you're going to put your brand new springs on. You're going to screw it all up. And then we'll go from there. Okay. You put your screws in here. You want to tighten that down to, let's go look. I got it open on the page here. So your clutch springs should be tightened down to 4.2 foot-pounds or 6 Newton meters. That's the easiest way to explain it. There's 4 of them. That's the quantity. So don't be a jughead like me and think that you can tighten it down by hand, because this is what will happen. You're gonna snap it, bro. And we snapped it inside. Well, I snapped it inside there pretty good, and Jay was able to get it out with the reverse bit. And where we are today, which is the following week from the last taping. So yeah, make sure you guys torque it down to the proper torque and be careful. I used a little Loctite. You really don't have to, but I'm all paranoid already after snapping that. Clean the area well. Jay's just double checking before we insert that. Make sure there's no contaminants we can introduce into the crankcase. And yeah, there's no videos on the TW so far, so make sure, I'm gonna say again, make sure you torque these down one by one, just little by little, tighten them up, get them down to torquing tension, and then torque them down to required specs. Aloha. Okay, try to line up the gasket best you can. I was telling Jay, I think this one right here is gonna be the hardest to get in, so let's try and get that one in first. There we go. Then just slowly get it. And you can tell pretty much. I think it's the other one, Jay. You see them right there. By how much of the screw you got sticking out will dictate which screw goes into which. See, you see how the screws are sticking out? Okay, Okay, now all of these right here, we got them all in. You see the gap right here? This is gonna torque down this section of the gasket. That's why it's so long. The oil filter cap cover screw is so long, it's gonna be one of the ones that torque down this engine case. So make sure you got them all threaded in nice, and you pull on them, make sure they're threading into the case before you go in there and start getting real torquey over there. Okay, here we go. Let's go check the engine case torque. Engine case torque, crankcase screw. Okay, we got 12 of them. Those are going to be torqued down to 7 Newton meters or 5.1 foot-pounds, Jay. 7 Newton meters or 5.1 foot-pounds. And then the oil is the same. The oil pump screws, there's 2 of them. The other one is actually the engine crankcase screw, the long one I was talking about earlier, Jay. This one is also the 7 Newton meters. And you want to remember to always tighten this crankcase in a star pattern. Never tightening 2 bolts next to each other is the key. So you just move them around like that, and he's going to drop down here next. See him? So what we're doing is we're bringing it to 4 Newton meters first. Well, 4 Newton meters, Jay. Okay, then we're going to take it up to the 7 Newton meters, which is the factory recommended torque. So we're at 4 right now on all of the crankcase. Remember now, this one here is another crankcase that we gotta do. So Jay, you know what? Maybe you better put the oil filter on first. Always remember, when you're putting this oil filter, I'm gonna say it again, these 4 holes have to go in this way, or not. You're not gonna get any pressure in the head. There's a way to check it. You unscrew this while the engine is running. If oil comes out, you know you're getting oil to the head. But I know that by putting that in that way, that everything will be alright. So we can check it, but I know I'm just being honest. So we're gonna put that on. This one is the one that screws the crankcase onto that's the long one, Jay. The long Allen, I think. Yeah. Okay, there it is. That is the other one that's gonna tighten up your crankcase to your engine. So we got to go ahead and torque those guys down now too. These 2 really don't matter because they're not gonna torque. This is the one that's gonna matter the most, because that's the one that's torquing the everything together. Yeah. All right. Okay, for that one to get the torque is gonna be tricky. We went with a universal with a 1/4-inch drive. Let's see if this will work. With 1/4-inch drive. Oh shucks. It's all 7 Newton meters, yeah. Okay. So we're just going around the block. We go right around the block, Jay. Double check every single one. See them? Just go right around the block. Okay. All 7 Newton meters. Yeah. So after you torque them all down, just go right around the block, double check. Okay. We just gotta tighten this one down here now. That one is gonna be a guess because we can't seem to get a. Well, we'll try. Oh, that thing is stubborn. Wow. Thing looks kind of crooked, Jay. Need the crow, animal crow food.